Good evening, friends. We are recording this video on one of the important but divergent advance ruling coming from Maharashtra in the case of Tata Motors Ltd. Fact of the case H. Tata Motors Ltd has engaged service provider for providing transportation facilities to its employee through non-air conditioned contract carriage buses having sitting capacity of more than 13% and recovering nominal amount from its employees for authorized usage of transportation facilities. Question raised before Maharashtra Advance Ruling Authority. The nominal amount which is being charged by Tata Motors towards transportation facilities chargeable to GST. Second, whether Tata Motors can take credit of GST on the services, transportation services received by the company. On first point, Maharashtra Advance Ruling Authority has said no GST on this nominal amount which is recovered by employer from employee concern for authorized usage of transportation facilities, and cited entry 1 schedule 3 going to be applicable, and entry 1 of schedule 3 says services by employee to the employer in the course of employment. As per my humble opinion, this is the services by employer to the employee, not appropriately falling. And there is another advanced ruling which is upheld by appellate authority in Kerala in the case of Caltech Polymers Private Limited. It is being held that recovery of certain amount on fooding expenses by employer to the employee is chargeable to GST. It's a deemed supply. It is being considered as incidental and ancillary to the business under section 2 subsection 17 subclause B of CGST Act. If we go back to entry 2 schedule 1, even though without consideration, there is no consideration, supply of goods or services between related person, an employer and employee are related person in terms of explanation section 15 of CGST Act, or distinct person, then this is called deemed supply and it is subject to valuation under Rule 28. And Rule 28 says valuation would be either open market value, like kind and quality, 110% of cost of provision, or residue method. So we are having two situations before us. If we are recovering any nominal amount, then it is subject to valuation in terms of Rule 28. And wherever we are not recovering any amount for supply of goods or services between related person, then also it is deemed supply, entry 2, schedule 1, subject to valuation under Rule 28. But there's a relief. There was one press release issued on 10 July 2017 categorically saying that anything which is given free of cost and which is CTC, cost to the company, for employment contract by employer to the employee, that is not chargeable to GST because employment contract are excluded, neither a supply of goods nor supply of services, wide entry 1 schedule 3. So at least for free of cost, there is press release clarifying the issue. But wherever nominal recovery, it is deemed supply and subject to valuation Rule 28. Second point, whether input tax credit available or not. As per the amendment made in section 17 subsection 5, credit is made available on motor vehicle having sitting capacity of more than 13%, or it is obligated, statutory obligation on employer for provision of services to the employee concerned. Statutory obligation. GST credit would be available as amended from 1st of February 2019. But on this point, Maharashtra Advance Ruling Authority has said credit would be available, and they have relied Bombay High Court judgment in the case of Ultratech Cement. In the course of furtherance of business, credit is available but to the extent of cost borne by the employer. So this is what the ruling coming out. As per my humble submission, this representation for the government, they must issue clarification on point number 1. Press release says F4C, free of cost. Nothing is being charged for provision of services by employer to the employee as per press release. Entry 1, Schedule 3. But wherever nominal recovery is being made, and that is for authorized usage, just to control and check for usage by employee concerned, Rule 28 must be looked into. Second and supported factor in second point, that lot of things we have seen in employment contract either paid by employer or employee. I'm just picking up one example, notice pay salary. If notice pay salary paid by employer to the employee, it is in lieu of employment contract. What happens if employee gives notice pay salary to the employer? Whether any service provided by the employer, it will continue to be part and parcel of employment contract. No service tax as per Madras High Court judgment in service tax regime. No service tax leviable. Concept if not change even in GST. So GST should not be charged. Coming to the third disputed point, here it can also be disputed that service provided by the person, non-air conditioned contact carriage buses, in terms of entry 15B of service exemption notification 12/2017, it is exempted. So where is the question of GST to be charged by service provider? If it is exempted, where the question of availing credit, which is being stated to be to the cost borne by the employer, which is the disputed point. In my humble opinion, this Maharashtra advance ruling in the case of Tata Motors Ltd going contrary. If we look at the Kerala advance ruling upheld by Appellate Authority of Kerala in Caltech Polymers Private Limited, and the provision, employer undertake lot of provision of services only in lieu of employment contract. Maybe nominal recovery is to ensure authorized uses, control and check for employees concerned. There is no objective that employer is engaged in transportation facilities or employer is engaged in provision of fooding services to employee concerned. Maybe government can clarify this issue on a broader perspective. Otherwise, this is creating confusion in trade, industry and commerce. I have analyzed this advance ruling and discussed the multiple aspects pertaining to chargeability, valuation and corresponding credit. Stay tuned. Keep watching number of other analysis on different ruling which is coming out under GST perspective. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.